Welcome back. I'm Spencer Tillis.
I'm Trayvon Miles.
And this is the Delmarva Sports Insider. Coming up in just a bit in today's episode, we're going to go ahead and stop by a very exciting thing going on down in Pocomoke. They have named their new head coach of their field hockey team. We'll tell you who it is.
That's right. Another week, another training camp. This time I got to check in with the Redskins in Richmond. Camp notes coming on up.
And plus another beautiful day to hit the links. We'll stop by Sussex Pines to pick up a few tips on how to drop that score later on in this week's Driving Delmarva.
That's right, but we start with some serious news right here in Salisbury. Delmarva was obviously shaken up early Sunday morning when the news of a murder of a Wycomico High School student had occurred. That news took a turn for the worse on Wednesday when Larry Ennis was named one of the suspects in charge with first-degree murder. Ennis was a standout basketball player, one of the most popular around here, starred at Y-High and Del Mar, where he concluded his senior season just a couple months ago. Ennis was headed to Cecil Community College, along with a number of other players that we cover this season. First off, I want to say my condolences to the family of Rakim Russell. What happened last Saturday, no family should have to go through. I sincerely hope that his family finds peace in all of this that's going on. Hundreds of people's lives change, by senseless actions of a couple people.
Yeah, absolutely. Normally we're here talking about sports, and it's a very lighthearted show, but sometimes there's things that are just bigger than sports, and that's just one of these cases right now, and the full community right now is kind of grieving over the whole situation. We've been there. I mean, a lot of us have been in situations like this where an altercation has happened, wherever you are, but you've got to have cooler heads than kind of, letting it get to this point. And he's, obviously innocent until proven guilty. You can't sit here and kind of draw the conclusions of anything just yet. You have to wait and see kind of where this all ends up. But the bottom line is a young man still lost his life regardless of how this ends up. And it's tragic kind of what's going on right now. And it's very difficult to kind of separate the situation right now and look at it from a basketball talent, but that is part of what's going on. And this is a sports show, and you look at a guy like Larry Ennis, and he was known specifically, like you were saying, for some of those basketball skills. Larry wasn't just the best player on his team. He was one of the best players in the entire state of Delaware. He earned honorable mention All-State after he led the Wildcats this past season, averaging 27 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists a game. He was still somewhat undecided on where he was going to go to play college ball. Last time I had talked with him, he said he was leaning towards Wesley. Since then, he had kind of realigned going back to Cecil's, kind of back and forth. But the question now is, with all this going on, kind of where does it leave him in that career that for a while there looked like it was on a trajectory of really starting to fix these things. And you know better than a lot of people, he was a great player at Y-High, but he ran into some trouble there. And it seemed like getting over to Del Mar and getting with Coach Vascular had really kind of cleared things up. He seemed like such a mature, different player from the player that we had seen from before. And, I've been around basketball my whole life. I was fortunate enough, blessed enough to be able to have the opportunity to play a little bit in college. And you do see certain cases where guys have ran into the law, and if he is acquitted from these charges, like I said, it's still a lot to kind of go through the court system, and he gets that opportunity to play in college. He wouldn't be the first guy to make it back out of something like this and have that opportunity. But the fact is he would still be almost the exception to the rule. I mean, it is so rare to have opportunity to play in college as it is, let alone, and then to have a situation like this. I mean, it is difficult for all purposes. It feels like any opportunity he would have had at a college career is, now out the window. Yeah,
when you talk about allegations as serious as these are, we've seen everybody, different players associated with different crimes, different things. You see college and NFL guys doing different things. When you see charges as serious as murder, you rarely kind of think of those second chances might even happen.
Yeah, and it was a shame, too, because it felt like basketball was going to be his way out, and then he was going to get out of this community and kind of get that opportunity to get, a shot at something from it. And it seemed like, just a couple months short of basketball kind of saving him from, something like this happening.
We'll take it to some field hockey now. We got some great news on Tuesday when Brandy Castaneda was named new field hockey coach for Pocomoke High School. He's obviously taking over for the late Susan Pusey, who coached there for 22 years, was a great member of the community. And obviously, Brandy played at Pocomoke. In 1994, she was on Coach Pusey's state championship team, Coach Pusey's first state championship team. And obviously, I know she's very proud. She said she was honored to kind of walk this team back in the footsteps of that kind of thing that they have going on down there in Pocomoke. They got a good thing going on down
absolutely.
there.
And you look at Pocomoke, and as tragic as it was when the news first came out about Pusey, and I mean that rattled that community to the core, because she was one of the 3 pillars that really kind of not just held that school together, but was really, you know, part of that Bird family that was a part and the soul of that community. And I sat back and I was like, how do you replace a legend like that? And it is impossible. And I knew they needed to go within that family tree and get somebody. And it was a name that I hadn't really heard of too much before. But I tell you what, the credentials that proved that she was the right fit for me was hearing from all the alumni that came out. I didn't hear a single bad person or a single questioning tone about whether or not she was the right fit. You know, almost universal it was she was the right person for the job, and moving forward that this seems like it's going to be a great fit.
Just kind of goes to show you the impact of so many people's lives that Susan Pughs has had on people you don't even know, the people that don't even come back here. So many people she's had an impact on their lives.
Yeah, and it's all positive for the most part. I tell you what, it's
definitely
exciting to see where that program's keep going, and it's going to be an emotional season, but one that's going to be great to watch.
Yes.
All right, well, it's time for our first commercial break, but coming up next, it's time to head over to camp. The Redskins are gearing up for what they hope to be a bounce-back season. We'll have an inside look coming up next.
I'm Casey Donalds. I'm the pitcher for Bennett, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.